Margot Ellison was the queen of Bellwoods, social, sing graceful, charming, and impossible to ignore. Stuart Hiley was her opposite, quiet, calculating, and always watching from the edges of every gathering. When both turned up dead within weeks of each other at the exclusive Bellwood Country Club, the town's perfect facade shattered, revealing secrets more poisonous than the drug that killed them. Nestled among the green hills of North Carolina, Bellwood was the kind of place people dreamed of retiring to. Wide streets were lined with blooming dogwoods, and every house looked freshly painted. Children rode their bikes without fear, and neighbors exchanged casseroles as easily as greetings. But nothing symbolized Bellwood's charm more than the Bellwood Country Club, with its towering white column, sparkling pool, and neatly trimmed fairways. It was more than just a club, it was the heartbeat of the community. Membership wasn't easy to get. There were waiting lists, interviews, and background checks. It was a place where successful retirees, doctors, and lawyers gathered to unwind and discuss the world over glasses of wine. It was seen as safe, elite, and completely untouched by the darker sides of life. Nothing bad ever happened in Bellwood. At least, that's what everyone believed until the morning of June 4th. That morning, the sun rose over the tennis courts just like it always did. And by 6 a.m., early risers were already filtering in for their morning match. One of the club staffers, Jorge Ramirez, arrived to unlock the gates and set out towels. When he walked past the pool on his way to the supply room, he stopped cold. There, floating silently in the shallow end, was the body of Margot Ellison. At first, he thought it was some kind of prank or mannequin. But as he stepped closer, the horrifying truth became obvious. Margot was still dressed in her tennis whites, her racket floating a few feet away. Her face was pale, her eyes closed. The water around her was still. Within minutes, the police were on site, and the entire country club was shut down. Word spread. Quickly, Margot Ellison was dead. The shock hit hard. She wasn't just any member. Margot was the wife of Dr. Craig Ellison, a respected heart surgeon at the local hospital. She chaired the club's social committee, planned the charity galas, and was one of the most well-liked figures in the community. At first, police suspected an accident. Maybe she slipped, hit her head, and fell into the pool. Her early 60s made the idea of a heart attack seem possible. But those explanations began to fall apart quickly. There were no signs of trauma, no injuries, no bruises. Her heart had stopped. Yes, but something felt off. Security footage should have shown what happened. But a critical gap in the video, exactly 5 minutes missing, raised immediate red flags. Staff confirmed that the cameras had never failed before, and the idea of a glitch at that exact moment seemed too convenient to be coincident. The more they looked, the more the perfect surface of Bellwood began to crack. Margot's death was not natural, not accidental. Something sinister had entered the community. The country club, once a symbol of luxury and safety, had become the scene of an unexplained death. No one knew it yet, but it wouldn't be the last. The investigation into Margot Ellison's death quickly shifted from tragic accident to suspicious homicide. The toxicology report arrived within days, and the findings were disturbing. Margot had been poisoned. Traces of digitalis, a plant-based heart medication, were found in her bloodstream. In controlled doses, it could treat irregular heartbeats. In higher amounts, it stopped the heart altogether. The coroner estimated that Margot ingested the poison sometime between 9:30 and 10 o'clock p.m. the night before her body was found. Digitalis was not a drug found in everyday households. It required knowledge to use and even more skill to use it undetected. That detail narrowed the suspect list. Investigators focused on those who might have access or understanding of such a substance. Naturally, suspicion fell on Dr. Craig Ellison, Margot's husband. As a cardiologist, he had both the access and the knowledge to use digitalis in exactly that way. But when detectives questioned him, he produced a strong alibi. He'd been at a medical conference in Richmond, Virginia, complete with time-stamped registration records. Witness testimony and hotel surveillance confirming his presence hundreds of miles away. With Craig clear, attention turned toward the country club itself. Margot had been at the club late that evening, organizing details for the upcoming summer charity golf. Staff remembered her staying longer than usual, making last-minute calls and sorting through event paperwork. The last confirmed sighting placed her near the lounge area shortly before 9:30 p.m. After that, she seemed to vanish until Jorge Ramirez found her in the pool the next morning. The missing 5 minutes from the security camera footage became central to the case. Investigators brought in technicians to examine the system. It hadn't crashed. It had malfunctioned. Someone had manually deleted the segment, suggesting a level of premeditation. Whoever did it knew how to access the security room without drawing attention, and they knew exactly which time slot to erase. Police began interviewing staff and club members, focusing on those with late access to the building. One name repeatedly surfaced: Lydia Voss, the club's treasurer and head of operations. She had stayed late the same night, citing bookkeeping duties. Her account matched the official logs, but inconsistencies in her timeline raised questions. She claimed to have left the building at 9:45 p.m., but a junior staff member recalled seeing her car still in the lot closer to 10:15. Despite the growing suspicion, there wasn't enough to charge anyone. The evidence was circumstantial, and without eyewitnesses or hard proof, the case stalled. The club reopened quietly after a brief closure, though the atmosphere had changed. Members whispered in corners. Eyes lingered longer during conversations. What once felt like a sanctuary now carried the weight of suspicion. But Bellwood hadn't seen the end of its troubles. Just as the community began trying to forget, another tragedy would strike, this one even more puzzling and more calculated. The country club was becoming something else entirely, a hunting ground.